Buck, I swear to God, I'm gonna stick that bat up your...
Hello survivors and welcome to Survivor's Guilt, the only channel that determines your odds of surviving 2014's zombie creature comedy Zombeavers. So stay tuned to the end for your survival stats. I'm your sharp-dressed slasher host, GhostFake, and today we are taking a look at 2014's Zombeavers. But first, go ahead and bite off that thumbs up button, stab that subscribe button right in its face, and go ahead and hit that share button to tell your friends all about these beavers. And also, go ahead and check out patreon.com/survivorsguilt. For just $1 a month, you can access content made exclusively for patrons. And before we begin, here's a word from this video's sponsor. Hey survivors, have you ever been Googling the most horrific and gory movie kills only to end up on some government watch list? Well, I've got great news. Though they probably can't keep that from happening, Atlas VPN can make sure that you are able to surf the web anonymously and make sure your location stays private. Atlas VPN was developed in 2020 by a team of cybersecurity specialists and IT engineers to make sure that the internet was safe and secure for everyone. Currently, Atlas VPN is running a huge discount on their 3-year deal for just $1.39 per month, with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So make sure you check it out by clicking the link in the video description below. Atlas VPN is a tool that encrypts your data and hides your virtual location. When you connect to a VPN server, your device is given a new IP address and a new DNS address. All of the traffic is encrypted and routed towards the VPN server. When the traffic arrives at the server, the VPN server decrypts the information and allows the traffic to access the desired destination. Atlas VPN also has a pretty slick data breach monitor, whereby you insert your email address and the tool scans the internet to see if your email address ended up in any recorded data breaches or data dumps. And if you turn on notifications, they ensure that you are aware of such incidents, giving you a head start in changing your passwords before anyone has a chance to steal your account. Atlas VPN is also a great way to take advantage of the potential geo-restrictions of your favorite streaming services. Let's say that you wanted to watch something on Netflix that is not available in your geographic location. You simply close the app and open the Atlas VPN application. Choose the country of which library you'd like to access, reload the Netflix app or website, log in, and enjoy that country's library. It's that simple. With their 3-year deal for just $139 a month and the 30-day money-back guarantee, you'll have plenty of money left over for this sweet tinfoil hat. Atlas VPN can encrypt your data, but they can't encrypt your thoughts. But this deal won't last long, so make sure to check it out by clicking the link in the video description below. And thank you Atlas VPN for sponsoring this video. Now I hope you like weekend getaways with your friends that get interrupted by undead disease, rodent innuendos, and infidelity, because this movie is getting spoiled. Zombeavers, written by Kaplan and Jordan Rubin, and directed by Jordan Rubin, and starring Rachel Melvin, Cortney Palm, Lexi Atkins, Hutch Dano, Jake Weary, Peter Gilroy, Linn, Bill Burr, and John Mayer. Zombeavers is about a group of friends who go to a cabin to help one of them deal with their boyfriend problems, but their excursion is interrupted by a group of rabid, diseased woodland critters. Oh, and some zombie beavers. We open up to a medical waste disposal truck driving down the road.
You know, I dated a guy once.
Could I hear all about it?
While Joseph and Luke drive down the road and talk about guy things, Luke spots a deer in the road. He tries to warn Joseph, but Joseph hits the deer and it explodes all over their truck. They lose a container of medical waste that rolls into the river as they inspect the damage. And after determining that the deer's survival stats are 0%, they drive off right into the opening credits. And we follow the medical waste container all the way to a beaver dam where it comes to a complete stop before spraying these beavers down with its contents. We cut over to a gas station where we meet Jen, who has recently learned that her boyfriend's been cheating on her. And then we are introduced to her friends Zoe and Mary, who are treating Jen to a boy-free weekend at Mary's cousin's lakeside cabin. And we flash over to this kid who is fishing, but loses his fishing pole when he catches something big, before catching himself at deposit number 1 into our meat bank. Meanwhile, the girls arrive at the cabin, and before they can get comfortable, the nosy neighbor lady, Mern Gregerson, drops by to say hi. Zoe acts like a to her, but Mrs. Gregerson knows what's up.
Oh, it's okay, Mary. My daughter's a total too.
And then lets them know that her and her husband, Winston, would love to have them over for breakfast. The girls get situated in the cabin and complain to Mary that there is no cell service before deciding to go for a swim, and Zoe gets comfortable.
In the middle of nowhere. It's a tan. Without lines.
And after a swim, the girls see a beaver dam and decide to go check it out. But while they're checking out the dam, they get noticed by a bear, who then leaves when he gets noticed and shot at by Smith with a Y, who then notices the girls and talks to them, and warns them about looking for beavers. The girls go back to their cabin, and later that night settle in for a girls' night of playing Truth or Dare and Would You Rather.
Would you rather watch your mom get murdered by your daddy, or get by your daddy while your mom had to watch?
Zoe, that's awful.
When they hear a knock outside. But when the girls go to check it out, they get jump scared by their boyfriends, who have shown up to crash the all-girls weekend. We then get introduced to Mary's boyfriend Tommy, Zoe's boyfriend Buck, and Jen's ex-boyfriend Sam, who turn out to have been invited by Zoe. Sam and Jen sit awkwardly in the living room while the other two couples bang it out in the bedrooms. It turns out that Jen saw a picture of Sam kissing another girl at a party that she wasn't at, and Sam blames it on the fact that he was drunk and won't let her know who the other girl was. She goes to leave the room, and Sam corners her in the hallway and she knees him in his sweets. And goes to the bathroom to take a shower. But she hears something in the tub and is surprised when she finds that it's a rabid beaver. She runs out of the bathroom and tells everyone what she saw, leading everyone back into the bathroom. And when they don't see anything, Buck cracks jokes before the beaver bursts out of the cabinets, and Tommy beats it to second death with a baseball bat. They bag up their kill and set it outside for the night. The next day, the group heads down to the lake pond thing for a swim, and it's here that we learn that the girl Sam was kissing was Mary. And when Jen complains that she felt something touch her foot, Buck complains that something bit off his foot, causing the group to flee towards the raft. And while Tommy puts a tourniquet on Buck, Jen runs to the cabin to call for help, not realizing that the beavers have cut the phone line. And while her friends get assaulted by the beavers on the raft, Jen gets assaulted by a beaver on her calf. Sam tosses Zoe's dog into the water as a diversion, and the beavers take the bait, and the group swims to shore. Meanwhile, Jen climbs onto the kitchen island and stabs the Zombeaver in the head. Jen then opens the front door to let her friends in, who are being followed by the zombies. Later that night, with reanimated animals all around their cabin, the group tries to figure out what they are going to do, and how they might get Buck to the hospital. And while Zoe points out to Sam that it was a crap move to feed her dog to the zombies, Mary tries to defend him, which leads Zoe to dropping the bomb that Sam was kissing Mary in that picture, which is news to Jen and Tommy. But the group gets distracted from the fact that they're a bunch of bullshark human beings when they hear the angry beavers slapping their tails outside, and the beaver on the island does the same, until Sam cuts off its head and throws it outside.
This is what you want!
The group decides that Tommy will take the car with Buck and Zoe to drive to the nearest hospital. They load into the car and drive off, while their friends watch from the cabin. But when the crew gets jump scared by one of the Zombeavers, the group begins to fortify their cabin.
I'll do the heavy lifting. The girls are safe with me.
Across the lawn at the Gregersons, Mern wants to check on our group and see what all the ruckus is about, and Winston thinks that it's best that they mind their own business. Mern goes off to bed for the night while Winston pets their new in-petster dog. Cut back over to Tommy, Zoe, and Buck, where we see that the road is blocked by a downed tree.
Suck a bag of dicks!
Luckily, there's a truck parked nearby with an axe in the bed. He gives the axe to Zoe and tells her to get back to the cabin, and says that he'll go ahead on foot to find help. And when Zoe gets back into the car, she hears Tommy scream. And she jumps out to find that some of the resurrected rodents have toppled a tree right onto Tommy, toppling Tommy into the meat bank at deposit number 2. When Zoe prepares to avenge him, the beaver dodges her swing and jumps into the air, only to be shot away by Smith with a Y, who has shown up to save the day. They grab Buck and get him into Smith with a Y's truck, and drive back towards the houses. During their drive, Smith recounts the great beaver fever outbreak of the 70s and how this is something entirely different. Good talk, Smith with a Y. They pull up to the cabin, but they can't get through the door, so they decide to head over to the Gregersons to seek refuge from the onslaught of the undead creatures, with Smith blowing away beavers as they go. The group arrive at the Gregersons and search for Winston and Mern. They find Winston laying lifeless in the meat bank at deposit number 3, and Smith tells Zoe to stay downstairs while he investigates upstairs. Meanwhile, back at the cabin, Mary, Jen, and Sam are discussing infidelity while reading up on beavers and how they are apparently good at digging tunnels.
I seriously need to lie down.
Cut back over to the Gregersons, where Smith with a Y finds Mern with a Y at deposit number 4 into the meat bank.
Okay.
Before heading downstairs and discussing with Zoe what they should do with Buck's foot. Cut over to the other cabin, where Jen has entered into Mary's room, and things get hot and scary when she climbs on top of Mary, and then transforms into a human zombieing. Beavering? Having been scratched earlier in the day by a zombeaver, transforming Jen into deposit number 5 into our meat bank. Anyway, she attacks Mary, and Sam barges into the room when he hears the scream, and the two leave the room after Sam knocks Jennifer down with a baseball bat. Cut back over to what used to be the Gregersons' place, where they are getting ready to cauterize Buck's leg, when they hear a roar from outside. But while they look out the window, Buck jumps up and starts gnawing on Smith with a Y, which makes Buck deposit number 6 into our meat bank, gnawing Smith with a Y into the meat bank at deposit number 7. Zoe goes to run out the front door, but is greeted by another Zombeaver with a tail slap to her foot. So she runs upstairs, where she gets attacked by Myrn of the Living Dead. So she jumps out the window. Cut back over to Mary and Sam, where they hear Jennifer slapping her tail on the floor like it's hot, which means she's calling for backup. And when backup arrives, Mary and Sam play a game of Beat a Beaver. Until they finally retreat to the bathroom, before Mary demands Sam take off all of his clothes. Mary, this is hardly a time for the... Oh, you're checking him for bites. And then Sam demands Mary take off all of her clothes. Sam, this is hardly a time for the... Oh, you're checking her for bites. And then the two of them start making out. Guys, this is hardly the time for that. But while they are busy checking each other for bites, the Zompiros are burning down the cabin. And then Jennifer breaks through the floor and bites onto Sam and ends up depositing him into the meat bank at deposit number 8. And while Mary tries to find a way to escape from the burning cabin, Zoe drives through the wall in Smith's truck, and Mary jumps in. And when they try to drive away, they run into Zombeave Smith, who shoots at them, causing them to hit a tree. They get surrounded by all sorts of zombeings, including a zombear, before they are able to continue down the road in their truck. They take the truck as far as they can go with it and decide to walk the rest of the way. But Mary stops and aims a gun that she found in Smith's truck at Zoe, believing her to be infected. But while she holds Zoe at gunpoint, she herself turns, prompting Zoe to deposit Mary into the meat bank at deposit number 9. Zoe continues her trek down the road before she finally comes upon a paved road and sees a truck coming her direction. We get reintroduced to Joseph and Luke. Luke warns Joseph about the girl on the road, but Joseph keeps driving and off-screen deposits Zoe into the meat bank at deposit number 10. And the movie ends. Almost. We get a literal stinger at the end of the credits, where we see a bee feasting on a dead Zombeaver and then heading back to the hive, where it undoubtedly spreads the infection, effectively creating a hive of zombies, and the movie ends. So now, to find out, what are your chances of suffering survivor's guilt? This is where we take a look at our main characters and the death that surrounds them to determine your odds of surviving this movie. Today's survival stats are brought to you by Atlas VPN. Be sure to protect your data and use Atlas VPN. We start off our meat bank deposits with this random Fisher kid who catches himself into the meat bank at deposit number 1. We then wait for ages before Tommy gets crushed into the meat bank at deposit number 2, followed by Winston being discovered at deposit number 3, and his wife Myrn with the Y at deposit number 4. We then get Jen transforming into Geneva at deposit number 5 into our meat bank, and Buck surprising us at deposit number 6, followed quickly by Smith with a Y getting devoured in at deposit number 7. Sam gets oral at deposit number 8, and Mary gets transformed and axed at deposit number 9. And wrapping up our meat bank deposits, we've got Zoe holding up traffic at deposit number 10 into our meat bank. Now let's take a look at our survivors. We've got Joseph and Luke, which means that out of a total of 12 characters, only 2 survive, giving you a 16.67% chance of surviving this movie. Given those odds, how would these Zombeavers turn you into a zombeing? Let me know in the comments below. And if this is your first time on my channel, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. And check out patreon.com/survivorsguilt. For just $1 a month, you can help us here at Survivors Guilt make this a full-time gig. Like Chris D, Sackhead Ed, Bubba T, Maximilian H, Macabre Python 18, Video Creep, Poppy Ulio, Valentina P, and Destiny T did. And you'll also gain access to the Patreon-only content. So if $1 could fall out of your pocket over the course of a month and it wouldn't bother you, consider checking out patreon.com/survivorsguilt. Alrighty guys, we'll see you in 2 weeks when we cover one of the survivor-requested movies. So see you in 2 weeks. And, as always guys, thanks and don't die.